Hi, this is Mark Kermode. Thanks for downloading this Kermode on Film podcast. Or if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for watching. I'm joined by Jack Howard.
Hello. It has been 15 years since The Social Network came out.
Wow.
I know.
Where does the time go?
So we're going to be discussing the movie itself. We're also going to be talking about the sequel that is going to be coming out next year, which is titled The Social Reckoning, and how you feel about The Social Network now that everything that's happened with Facebook has happened. And anything else to add?
No, it's an interesting conversation. We've had the conversation already. That's why we know it's an interesting conversation.
Yes. My first question for you is, does 15 years feel like a long time for a movie to have come out to you?
Well, when you said to me, it's the 15th anniversary of Social Network, I was like, no, really?
Yeah.
But this is happening all the time at the moment. It's like, because it's the 50th anniversary of every film I saw as a child.
Right.
It's just like, wow, where does it all go? So 15 years feels both like, I can't believe it's been 15 years, but it also feels like the blink of an eye. Mm-hmm. I tend to think of anything this side of the 21st century, in the 21st century, as recent.
Right,
That's the way it works.
And I think also because The Social Network and anything from that kind of era actually still feels like the fact that, Inception came out the same year. They still feel incredibly modern.
Yeah, they were. They were same year. Mm-hmm. Wow. So what else was around?
Toy Story 3, The King's Speech. I'm just naming all the Best Picture nominees, basically.
And King's Speech won Best Picture, didn't it?
Well, let's start with that. I still hold a massive grudge about that. Not only that The King's Speech won Best Picture, but also that Tom Hooper won Best Director over David Fincher. I think that's... time has been...
History, yeah, exactly. History has sorted that equation out, hasn't it? Firstly, let's contextualise this.
Yes.
So we're having this conversation in November 2025. There is a sequel.
Yes, yeah, next year...
What? Tell me what we know.
Okay, so next year we'll be getting the part 2, which is called The Social Reckoning. It's being written and directed by Aaron Sorkin, so no David Fincher for the sequel.
Okay, Fincher was never in the frame, or
I don't think so. Okay. I'm not sure what's happened. Obviously, there's rumours and all sorts of stuff about how Fincher was supposed to be doing the Steve Jobs biopic as well. That was also written by Aaron Sorkin.
Isn't Fincher doing the sequel to
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Yeah, called The Adventures of Cliff Booth. Which, on another topic, I think that Tarantino shot himself in the foot a little bit.
By saying 10 films?
10 films, and also that I think by making Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as his 9th film, because I think he wished it was his last film, because I think clearly he can't get out of it. Like, he wrote a book that was like I think it was a Cliff Booth book, and now he's wrote a sequel that David Fincher's directing. But anyway, yeah, next year, Aaron Sorkin writing and directing
Social Reckoning.
The Social Reckoning.
And do we know what it's about?
Yes, it's about the leaks that happened and the whistleblower that sort of told everything that was going on to do with the election. And it stars Jeremy Strong as Mark Zuckerberg. And Mikey Madison is playing the whistleblower.
Oscar-winning Mikey Madison, if you don't mind.
The cast is amazing. I'm sure the script is going to be fantastic. I have my reservations about Aaron Sorkin as a director, and especially because The Social Network, I think, is a perfect combination of Fincher's like precise directing and Sorkin's amazing, fast-paced, kind of overlapping, beautifully written dialogue. And I think what Fincher did really, really well in The Social Network as well, like I've watched the behind the scenes documentary more times than I can count, and just having this kind of fly on the wall look at them in this sort of boardroom where it's like Jesse Eisenberg and Andrew Garfield and Justin Timberlake all around the table, but it's just mostly David Fincher and Aaron Sorkin talking about the purpose of every line in the script.
Right, okay.
And I think Aaron Sorkin has these, there's a really famous line in The Social Network where Mark Zuckerberg, in one of the deposition rooms, said, "I could take the club, buy it, and turn it into my ping pong room." And that is a line that he originally used in his TV show that no one has watched, but I love it, called Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
Oh, right, I've heard of it, never seen it.
It was made at the same time as 30 Rock, and they chose 30 Rock. Because we can't have two behind-the-scene SNL things. But yeah, he took that line from that. He has a lot of lines that repeat throughout, like The West Wing and all sorts of different things that crop up every so often. Even little phrases like "not for nothing." He always uses "not for nothing," and I think that Fincher was really good at kind of pulling out some of those kind of Sorkinisms, but leaving in everything that needed to be there. And I think what Fincher did as well as a director, like looked at everything and found like the point of every single scene and what the dialogue was kind of really about. So the scene where they come back when the Facebook has just been launched and they're like the most famous thing on campus. They come back and they're discussing what to do with it next. And there's this distinction between you, I, and we. And Mark is constantly saying, this is what I'm doing. And Eduardo's trying to say, what are we doing? What are we doing? And Fincher, you can see him in that discussion, like really point that out. Like, that's what this is about. And then he goes even further. And anyone who knows me and has heard me talk about The Social Network on the internet before knows what I'm about to say. The beautiful directing of that scene is that they come in and Mark goes into his bedroom for a second. Eduardo goes straight over to the fridge and gets out 2 bottles of beer.
Right.
And then Mark comes around the other side and goes over to the fridge and just gets out a beer for himself. And there's just this lovely character moment between them that you don't, it's not pointed out. No one he doesn't go, I've got you one. Right? It just happens as they're talking. But I think subconsciously that's the sort of thing that goes in that just tells you everything you need to know about who they are. Like, he's in it for himself. He's looking out for both of them. And it's just demonstrated with the physicality of what's going on. And I think that's the genius of it. And I guess my worry about The Social Reckoning is that maybe Sorkin won't be challenged as much to find those kind of like those moments.
Yeah, I always kind of have the worry about screenwriters who are brilliant screenwriters who've done brilliant work with brilliant directors, then becoming directors. And the classic example for me is I think Charlie Kaufman was always better when being directed by Michel Gondry or whatever,
Spike Jonze,
than he was on his own recognizance. I think that one of the things with Synecdoche, New York, is that it's untrammeled Charlie Kaufman, and I think that's an issue. I know that this is something that he took grave exception to me thinking, and he was furious about it. It was like really weird. And then years later, he wrote a book in which there's a paragraph about what a twat I am.
That's a claim to fame.
Yeah, I know. It's really strange.
I do think that
but he was better when he was being directed by other people.
I think it's more accessible, and I think that
I think it's better, Jack.
Yeah,
I think it's the filtering system. There's something about them. My favourite movie ever, The Exorcist. Bill Blatty probably thought he could have directed a better film, but he couldn't. The reason it works is because there's 2 forces pulling in different directions, and it's something in the middle. I just find it hard to believe that Aaron Sorkin on his own would make a film as good as Aaron Sorkin and David Fincher.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll be interesting to see what happens. I think it's a good title. I think The Social Network, The Social Reckoning. I think that's
I think it's also interesting as well that like the time that The Social Network came out, I mean, it changed so much about cinema because we've since had a lot of these kind of tech biopics.
Yes.
It was also the first ever score that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross did.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. It comes up in the book that I wrote about soundtracks.
Unbelievably good. And since then, film soundtrack has changed, and a lot of that credit obviously usually goes to someone like Hans Zimmer, which is a different kind of score, but they certainly changed what film scores can be post-2010.
No, absolutely. They really, really did. And it is true nowadays. If anyone was doing, if you're writing about film music or you were doing a film music show, you'd have Trent Reznor and Atticus would be right there in the middle as like some of the most popular film. And it's popular at the time. It was like, that's a left field choice, but now it's absolutely bang in the center spot, isn't it?
And how interesting that was as well at the time, because like again, in those behind the scenes documentaries, you can hear them go, we don't know what we're doing. Like we are just sort of trying stuff and trying to feel our way through it. And actually they didn't know what certain things were going to be used at certain moments. So I know from having read the script that the moment after the first scene that Mark gets dumped by his girlfriend and she says, you're an asshole. Yeah. It was supposed to be a pop song that it was going to have like a real thumping beat to it. And I think the score was supposed to have that as well. But then they heard that lovely little piano riff and that became they just put it within the edit and that became the theme of the film.
That happens quite a lot with composers. They will write music, again, so we haven't just done this book about it, they will write, Johnny Greenwood said it when I was interviewing him about working with Paul Thomas Anderson. He said, well, I've kind of got to the point that I just want to write a bunch of music and give it to him and say, look, put it where you want. Because he said there's been times in which I've written something for a scene and then he's put it in another scene, like, oh, no, that works. So I just, moving stuff around like that. Okay, so look, Thinking,
hang on.
Sorry, go on.
But just to finish the point of like how it changed a lot of cinema from 2010, I don't think that if you're making a film about Facebook now, you don't tell that story. And I don't think it means it's aged badly, because I think it still is a masterpiece. But I don't think that in today's world, the film you tell about Facebook is the origins of it. And even though I think all of it, I remember at the time people saying like, when I said it was good to like my uni friends, people were like, the Facebook film. I'm like, but it's not really about Facebook. No. It's obviously a classic story that's using like friendship and betrayal and power and all these different things, but in a very modern setting. But today, it will be 2026, that's not the story you tell about Facebook anymore. And I think that's interesting to sort of have the same person who made this masterpiece 15 years ago, who wrote the masterpiece 15 years ago. And actually, to quote Aaron Sorkin on when he won Best Adapted Screenplay at the Oscars, he said, "I wrote this movie, but David Fincher made this movie."
Oh, it's a good line.
It's a good line.
He's a good writer, isn't he? He's a good writer.
And to have that guy kind of come at the same topic again, but go, what kind of movie do you make about Facebook now?
Okay.
I think that's interesting.
So looking back to 2010, the things that I remember thinking about The Social Network when I first saw it was, firstly, I remember going in thinking, this is going to be a movie with a bunch of people sitting looking at laptops, right? Or not laptops, right. Computers. And
well, there are laptops in it.
Yeah, but it's, but basically it's like, that's the least dramatic thing you could possibly do. Like, how on earth do you make a film of people sitting computer coding, figuring stuff? And I was astonished by how cinematic it was, whether it's the scenes on the campus, the kind of crepuscular nighttime scenes, that bit when they suddenly cut to the boat race, which comes almost out of nowhere.
In the Hall of the Mountain King.
Yeah, it's like the weirdest thing. It's like suddenly it's a whole different film.
And it's got those like weird lenses on it, which make them feel like almost like figurines.
Yes, that's right. Yes, makes everything look like almost like a model or something.
Yes.
Yeah, and it is profoundly cinematic. I also remember thinking at the time. Well, firstly, I've never done Facebook. I've never got Facebook. It's never appealed to me.
I think that's why you're one of the good 60-year-old men.
Is it?
It's not a good place for most 60-year-old men to be.
Oh, really?
It's just. I mean, this is why it's good to make a film about Facebook now. Is that it's the sort of place that indoctrinates people into like bad.
Oh yeah. Yes, yes. I mean, it's become a hive of basically. It's like Twitter, isn't it? It's just like a hellscape of crap.
Yeah, which is what The Social Reckoning will be about.
Okay, fine. But so I remember thinking, okay, this is much more cinematic than I thought it was. And the other thing I remember thinking about it is, this is a very impressive job of making a film about somebody I have total disregard for. Mm-hmm. Not that I hate them, but I 3 minutes in their company and I would switch off. Now, of course, it's really interesting that since Social Network, Zuckerberg has, I think, turned out to be every bit as much of a slimy creep as you can imagine. There's
an actual supervillain.
And there is that, I know it gets talked about a lot, there is that funny bit of footage in which he says he's trying to empathize by explaining that he understands. He says, look, I understand, I am human.
I was human once.
I
forgot about that.
Remember it though. It's just a thing. It's the glitch.
If they get Jeremy Strong doing that in The Social Reckoning, that'll be his Oscars clip.
But it's everything about what he then sort of turned into just confirmed all your worst fears. And actually, the funny thing now is that looking at the way in which he's portrayed by Jesse Eisenberg, who we all like, is that it seems like quite a sympathetic
quite
version
tame,
of him.
Isn't
it's
it?
like, oh no, that guy seems nothing like as bad as it probably.
Because it is interesting that the kind of the core of his character in The Social Network is, what if the guy who created the world's biggest social networking platform for you to all be with your friends online was the most socially inept person?
Yes.
That's what that film is kind of about.
Yeah.
And then it's now, that's why I say you wouldn't make that film now. Like, what he's turned out to be is actual supervillain.
Yeah.
So the Social Reckoning is going to be a complete turn on its head of like, no, he's not only the most socially inept person in the world, he's somebody who's like controlling governments now.
Yeah. and absolutely, falling in line with the Trump agenda and selling everybody down the river for just sheer greed.
Yep.
Greed, profit, self-aggrandizement. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Yes.
Yeah. So I can understand.
Not good.
Not good. So
Jeremy Strong. Well done. That's a good bit of casting because Jeremy Strong is very good at doing not good.
Yes, he is. Yeah. I mean, what a great post-Succession career he's having is playing like the guy who created Donald Trump.
Well, actually, because the weirdest thing is, have you seen Springsteen?
Not yet. No, I haven't.
So in that, he plays.
He's a goodie, isn't he?
And the really weird thing about it is because he's playing the guy who's kind of Bruce's manager, right? It's Jeremy Strong. You go, okay, he's going to shaft him. He's going to shaft him.
Which is also very interesting as well that we're so in the weeds now of like these music biopics that whenever there's a manager, you're always thinking that it's going to be like the sort of stereotypical thing in music biopics is the manager's going to shaft him.
And when the manager is played by Jeremy Strong, he's going to absolutely shaft him. And then no, he turns out to be a really good guy. And all the way through, he's really, really good. And then he's really supportive. And then it's like, oh, okay, well done.
Jeremy Strong playing against type.
Completely wrong-footed by that. But okay, so I thought, I also, incidentally, and this gets overlooked a lot, I think Andrew Garfield is absolutely brilliant. So I gave Andrew Garfield the Kermode Award for Best Supporting Actor. I think he gets overlooked for how good he is in that film.
Although I will say that I think that the thing that gets talked about a lot is he's wired in. Is he? Is he still wired in? And then smashing the laptop and say, "How about now? You still wired in?" That is the scene. And I saw someone. I saw someone tweet that scene recently. Actually, the behind the scenes of them making it, and someone.
You have watched the behind the scenes a lot, haven't you?
So much. Saw someone tweet that bit of them making that moment. Because obviously Fincher does famously a lot of takes. Yeah. The first scene was 99 takes. He didn't want to do 100, but he does a lot of takes all the time. And obviously what you get in the behind the scenes is a montage of Andrew Garfield smashing a laptop over and over again in different takes. And someone said, this is like watching the Mona Lisa be painted. And they're right. That scene is an absolute masterclass. And the emotion of him intercutting the moment of them in the deposition and then that moment of him having a go at Mark and Justin Timberlake's character, who's he playing?
Him.
Sean Parker.
Sean Parker.
The brilliance of that, cutting to the moment where he gets to say, how much was your share diluted down to, or, how much was this person's, how much was this person's, and then the emotion of him saying 0.03%. And they're talking about contracts and they're talking about money, but really what he's saying is, this is what our friendship meant to you.
Yeah.
Was 0.03%. And the fact that they've managed in the writing and the directing and the music score there as well, which it brings back that piano, that dun dun dun. It brings that back, but in a really echoed, far away kind of way. And it makes me emotional every single time. But in reality, what they're doing is saying you shafted me business wise, but really what's coming through is that you completely fucked me over, and he says it, I was your one friend, and I can't believe that bit makes me feel so emotional every single time I watch it.
Yeah, but then Mark Zuckerberg shouldn't have friends, should he?
Exactly, yeah.
What's the line? It sticks to me. I can't quite remember it when she says.
I'll know it.
That's what I'm going to ask you. When she says the internet is written in
the internet isn't written in pencil mark, it's written in ink.
That's it. Which I remember that really striking chord. Again, bear in mind, 2010, we were in a different point. I mean, social media was really
new.
It's in its infancy, essentially. I know that it had been going on for a while, but most of us didn't have those things on our phones.
And it was still in punk rock era. It was
exactly.
No one really took it seriously. It was just the new thing.
But that line, internet's not written in pencil, it's written in ink. And she says it with such, it's Rooney Mara, right?
It's Rooney Mara, yeah.
Right. She says it with such kind of biting conviction.
Yep.
And it's, incidentally, now tell me this. I heard afterwards, there's a lot of the thing is fanciful. He never broke up with his girlfriend. That didn't happen. Did it? Or is that?
Or this is actually where I stand on the I don't care.
Don't care, fine.
I it's interesting as well to talk about it, because I know that kind of based on us saying how you wouldn't make the social network the way it was made then now, I can understand if someone would go, I can't really, because Mark Zuckerberg, I can't watch it in that way. I would understand that, but I watch it and I go, this is Mark Zuckerberg, the character.
And
what they would, and I think it's the same with the Steve Jobs biopic, which I also really, really love. Not the Ashton Kutcher one.
I think the Danny Boyle, Steve Jobs is terrific, and again a terrific piece of writing by Aaron Sorkin. That whole thing that it's not even the launches of the products; it's the lead up to the launches of the products. Because I think he never actually gets on stage, does he?
No, every time he walks on stage, it cuts
and
it cuts to the next
forward.
one.
It's such a smart way of doing it.
It was, and I love the way that Aaron Sorkin talked about that by saying it's a painting, not a photograph of the person. And I think it's the same thing with The Social Network, that he's giving you. I mean, actually, he said this in his Oscar speech as well. He said. I think he actually said thank you to Mark Zuckerberg, actually, to say
hasn't aged well.
Thanks for letting us use your life as a metaphor for how we communicate to each other. And I think that's what the whole movie is in a lot of ways. Is I don't really care if some of those facts don't quite line up with reality. They're telling us a story, and I think that really they're getting to truth without maybe like. Maybe that person didn't exist.
Oh yeah, no, listen, I'm fine with that. I'm actually glad that neither of us know.
I think some people aren't okay with that. Some people find that, like, for example, the Steve Jobs one especially, they go, well, this didn't happen. I'm like, yeah, but any film you watch of any person that's a biopic or something that's based on a true story didn't happen like that. So all of it. So why not go so far the other way that we're going? We are kind of creating a little bit of a portrait.
I remember there used to be a column in Viz magazine. They had a film critic called Mark Kermode, Commode, right?
Oh, that's
and
funny.
Hello. No, it was fine. That was Viz, and it was like Mark Kermode's movie bloopers, and it would be like a stupid column written by me or stupid. It was my face that they used for it. One of them was, this period drama is shot in colour, which is ridiculous because colour wasn't even invented until the middle of
It wasn't invented.
It wasn't invented. Anyway. So here's the other question.
Yes.
One of the things that can happen with films is that completely coincidentally, something can happen in the interim between the film being made and now, that when you go back and watch it, like, for example, we were talking recently about Naked Gun, okay? And
go back and listen or watch.
Yeah, go back and listen or watch, because it's an interesting conversation. But one of the things with Naked Gun, O.J. Simpson.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just impossible not to go, oh, O.J. Simpson, who murdered his wife and then got away with it. So...
Yeah.
The Winklevi twins.
Yeah, the Winklevi. What a great line that is.
The Winklevoss is the Winklevi.
Yeah.
Celebrity cannibal, Armie Hammer.
Allegedly.
Not allegedly. Not allegedly. The text in which he says, I am 100% a cannibal. He then goes on the Louis Theroux podcast and says, I didn't mean it like that. You go...
I don't know how it's supposed to take that.
No, but
is it a joke?
Yeah, anyway, there's a whole thing about, he never did anything wrong, he never ate anybody, he blah, 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 but he sent texts that said, I am 100%, yes, that is who I am. And a whole bunch of other stuff came out about him being a deeply unpleasant character.
Yeah,
now,
I'm sure.
One way that can work in its advantage is you're not meant to think highly of the Winklevi. They're not the nicest characters. But is there any part of you that is taken out of the experience of watching it by the fact that... I mean, I listened to the Louis Theroux podcast with Armie Hammer, and I listened to it partly because I thought, well, Louis Theroux is always interesting about, bringing out the best in people, and he's a very sympathetic ear. And I went into that thinking, I don't know much about these Armie Hammer allegations, but he sounds pretty creepy. I came out of it thinking he was worse.
Yeah, sure.
Because it was just like an hour of self-justifying, completely unself-aware nonsense.
And I think recently as well, he was like, the same kind of tour that you're talking about. He also did like the Piers Morgan show. And I'm like, you're not, I mean, these aren't the places I want to see you, like, trying to clear your name. Like, this is not helping you.
No. So does it in any way bother you that Armie Hammer has now become celebrity cannibal?
That bothers me. Let's make these separate things.
No, I see. Yes, exactly.
That bothers me, and I don't
Children eating people is wrong. And incidentally, Armie Hammer never ate anyone, just to be clear, okay? For the lawyers, he didn't eat anyone.
I wouldn't want to see Armie Hammer now in something, but when I watch it, it doesn't even click with me. The film is good enough, and he is good enough that it's one of those things. I think because I saw it before, again, I knew who Armie Hammer was. Like, I'm not seeing actor Armie Hammer. Like, it's
I had no idea who he was at the time, and I confessed I had completely forgotten. And then you go back. This is what I mean about you suddenly bump into him and go, oh.
The other guy who played the other twin is called Josh Pence. And I bet they're kicking themselves that they picked the wrong guy.
Why couldn't we have tracked his face?
The There was even a moment again in that behind the scenes where Aaron Sorkin was like, you know what? They could be fraternal twins. They could be, and they almost did it where one of them played one and the other one played the other.
Okay.
But double Army Hammer. And one of the things that I think it did exceptionally well in its casting was Justin Timberlake, who thinks he's a cool guy, who turns out to be an absolute worm.
Yeah.
And then since then, all Justin Timberlake has tried to do is play cool leading men, and actually it doesn't really work. It only works when you think you're cool, but you're actually a little worm. And again, just to shout out a beautiful piece of direction from David Fincher. The final scene between Sean Parker and Mark Zuckerberg is over the phone when Sean Parker has been done for having alcohol and drugs with girls that are underage at this party at college, which has been like a sort of woven thing throughout the entire film that he might be into that. And then he's at the police station and he's like huffing on an inhaler, which is so geeky as well. It's so funny that they give him that. And he's on the phone. But the way that Fincher shoots it is that Mark's in the office and he's at the police station, and obviously the phone conversation is happening. So Mark is on the left of the screen and Justin Timberlake's Sean Parker is on the right of the screen. But then Sean moves over to the other side of the screen while he's talking on the phone, and it almost feels like he's trying to get on the same side as Mark. And then it cuts back to Mark, and Mark turns his chair around into a different shot so that he's on the other side of the screen. It's just those like very subtle little moments of like, no, he's not letting him do that. And then when he gives him the bad news, it's while the Facebook office is closing for the night and all the lights start turning off in the back, so it gets darker as he's giving him the bad news. It's all those little details, and I feel like there's more and more. It's just delicious. There's more and more to find every single time I watch it, and it's just the film I appreciate most in the world. I think it's unbelievably good.
Okay, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you a question, and while you answer it, I'm going to go over there and get my phone. I'm just going to check the Army Hammer quote, so that just to be absolutely clear. Do you think that Fincher started out making Alien 3, which he had a terrible time on, and he never went back to fix it when he said no, you messed up the first time, and so that the kind of restored version, I think it was who did it anyway. One of Ridley's assistants was involved in the reconstruction, but not David Fincher. He said no, you had your chance and you messed it up. Fight Club, extraordinary. Social Network, extraordinary. Gone Girl, extraordinary. And I know you really like Girl with a Dragon Tattoo.
I do.
Do you think that Fincher has continued to fulfill his promise? Because the Hitman movie that he made, I didn't get at all. The one with Michael Fassbender.
I think that I find Fincher's choices over the last few years to be quite interesting. Like, I don't fully understand. Like, I get why he wanted to make Mank because his dad wrote the film.
Yeah, I didn't like Mank.
I didn't love it either. And with The Killer, it's directed within an inch of its life.
Yes.
It is so beautifully made.
Yes.
But I don't quite get why he wanted to make it. Because he made Zodiac. He made Seven.
Yeah.
And they're both masterpieces.
Zodiac, I think, is absolutely genre-changing.
I as well. I actually, this is going to sound weird, maybe you'll understand this. I find Zodiac quite a comforting film to watch, because it's mostly just people talking in rooms and really talented people trying to solve a problem. It's actually like, there's some gruesome scenes in it, but it's not a lot of that. Mostly it's like just really fantastic dialogue scenes or investigative scenes. I find his choices recently strange, and I think that the last thing that he made that I thought was utterly brilliant, and I'm sure everyone agrees, is Mindhunter.
Yes,
the TV show Mindhunter is unbelievably good.
Yeah. So he has gone a little bit off the boil.
I just think he's not his talent. He's clearly extremely gifted as a director, but his choices of the movies he wants to make, I feel. Do
you think he'll make anything as good as Social Network again?
I would doubt it, because I don't know if I think anyone will make a movie that I like more than that.
Okay.
It's like me asking you, do you think there's ever going to be a better horror movie than The Exorcist?
No, I don't think it's going to be a better movie than The Exorcist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, look, it was a great conversation, and the exact quote is, I am 100% a cannibal.
Thank you for listening.
Well, there we go. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of Kermode on Film.
Thank you.
If you've enjoyed it, what do? You subscribe?
You subscribe, you hit that like button.
Hit the like
Share
button.
it on Facebook.
Smash that like button. And if you want to hear me and Simon Mayo talking about movies, Kermode and Mayo's Take is available wherever you get your podcasts.
And I'll also say as well, because why not, my film, The Second Time Around, is on Channel 4. It's going to be there for the next year, so go and watch it if you want. Anything else to add?
No, I love that film. It's really good. Do check it out. It's on Channel 4. Although I should also say, if you get a chance to see it in a cinema as well.
Yes. No, I would obviously prefer that, but
But yeah,
I'd rather people watch it.
You rather be watching it.